Now I want you to show a real use of a material. I mean, this is a very real use for a material, but I wanted to show you how the pistol was made. So let's just search for it. I just press Ctrl B. You can also search it by clicking here. And let me just go to the texture. Not to the texture, to the mesh. Search for this one. Click on it. You will see the mesh here. With F, you can focus it. With Alt and dragging your left click, you can rotate around it. Very similar to how it works in the viewport, because this is also a viewport but for a mesh. And we're gonna click here. This is the material slot. It only has one slot, so it's using only one material instance, which is this MI weapon pistol. Here we can change the color. Usually you have a value to change the tint. We can change, and if we preview it as this, I mean, it's not gonna make much sense, right? But here we can actually select the mesh, the preview mesh that we want. And it's going to use the one that you have selected right now in your content browser. So that's why it selected immediately my pistol. So here we can actually look if this changes anything. And it doesn't seem to change anything. Now, why would this happen? Because probably this weapon, this material instance, is not only used by this weapon. So do take that into consideration. If you are using this sets preview, you are generating a reference to this asset. So every time this material instance is used, you're gonna load this asset also. So that's why usually you just want your material to be like this. And as long as you see that, oh, something is being changed, then you know that it's working fine. Now, it also have more parameters, right? So let's open the master material, the parent material of this material instance. It's called M weapon. And to know which other materials use this material, we can go to Asset, Reference Viewer. And here we see that this M weapon is only being used by the MI weapon pistol. And here, it's only using these textures, which is actually pretty good. This means that inside, and I'm going to double click this material instance. This material instance is the one that is loading the textures of the pistol. And is being used by the pistol and by the skeletal mesh of the pistol and the normal static mesh of the pistol. Right, so this weapon is only, it seems that it's only affecting the pistol. And as you can see, there is a lot of things that are happening here. To start analyzing one by one could be very hard. I mean, it's a good thing that there are some comments to let you know what this does, and you can create comments very easily in blueprints and in materials just by selecting nodes and pressing the C for comment, this letter. And then we can move stuff around very easily, but I'll just delete that. But a good way to know what exactly is happening is by using the preview tools that the materials have, right? Now, first, it's a good idea to know, hey, what is the material domain? Surface, that's fine. Opaque, okay. Default lit, perfect. I understand that. How is the base color working? Here, you just need to put your mouse on top of it and you can follow the execution here. AO controls, it's multiplying something which is here, which is a parameter that it will be a texture, and this texture is being set up in the MI. Here is the AORM. And when you see names like this, there are usually a way of naming the different channels that this texture have. AO, ambient occlusion, which you can find here. R, roughness. M, metallic. And you can follow the pins. Usually this means that the first one will be the ambient occlusion, the green channel will be the roughness, and the third channel, the blue one, will be the metallic value. And is this true? If we follow this node, yes, the blue one is directly connected to the metallic one. Now, you will understand this if you have actually created some assets and you have packed the textures of your asset in the same file, but in different channels. Right? So I wouldn't worry too much about it. I'm just showing you how a material would look like, because it can get out of hand very easily. And if for some reason, let's say I disconnect this by mistake, like I can break the node. Oh, I broke every node. I don't want to break every node. I just wanted to break the blue one. So I'll just hold Alt and left click. You can connect this back again either by dragging and dropping, or you can just right click on top of the pin and you can decide to where you will connect. So this one is supposed to be connected to the metallic. So let's connect it to the metallic value. With that, albedo usually means the base color of the texture. So it is the color not affected by any kind of light, because we're using a PBR type of model, physically based rendering. So we don't want to add shadows to my textures. Those shadows will be handled by the engine. And here, the team color tint, or where is the weapon tint that we were looking at? I'm guessing it's this one, right? Team weapon tint. Team weapon tint, yes. So the only thing that is happening is we have this parameter, and we are doing a linear interpolation between this color and the base color. And the alpha, because remember, we already know what the linear interpolation is. We saw it on blueprints. We are just interpolating between two values. If A was 0 and B was 1, it will depend on the alpha, which value do I get here. So if the alpha is 0, then I will get this value. If the alpha is 0.5, then, well, I will get an intermediate value. So if A is 0 and B is 10, then the intermediate value will be 5. Right? So it's just a simple way of selecting a color. And this should be, it's being multiplied by a text color and the other text color for the decals. And after all those operations, that's the word, we finally come back here, we get the ambient occlusion, and then we will pass it to the base color. Again, materials is a very, very big subject, just like blueprints. So I would encourage you to also search in our channel more in-depth tutorials about materials. But I hope that this was a cool introduction of the things that you can do and how things will look in the future. And there are better ways to organize this. Like, for example, I mean, you can use named reroute declarations and you can connect this like that. And if my name is, for example, let's say color, I can call it back here color. And let me just put a better name, color result. And we can here name reroutes color result. So it's like being connected like this, but without having a super wire spaghetti that can get very hard to read. So yeah, use name reroutes. It will be easier for you to organize your materials. Oh, and I got distracted and forgot to show you the previewing options that you have inside the material editor. Like, if you want to preview this or maybe this color, you can just right click and start previewing the node. And it's like this will just run directly to your preview viewport. You don't only need to preview it like this, you can just choose also some operations and start previewing them. Right now, don't have any texture hooked up to this because they are just parameters. And those parameters are being overridden here in the material instance. But it's a good idea to use this preview power to check it. So if you just want to understand what's happening here in the texture, make sure to fill it with these ones. And then you will be actually able to understand, okay, this is happening like that, right? So yeah, and this alpha, this value is just coming from this mask to tell it where to paint and where not to paint. So yeah, that's a thing that I forgot to add, and that I really wanted to let you know because it's a great learning functionality to preview nodes in a very simple manner.